today we've got a yoga class based on mostly opening through the hip flexors, so we'll kind of focus on that area. If you have taken my class before, you know I'm really all about listening to your body and doing what feels good. So I'll give you modifications and progressions for everything. Just do what feels good today. That changes on a daily. So that's all I ask. You're doing this in my house with me today. It's a little bit like cat yoga, but that's just where we're at. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and find a comfortable seated position for you. So this can be legs crossed, legs out front, wide. And if this doesn't feel good, maybe just placing a little bit of a pillow or a blanket underneath the hips. Let's just start here. So close your eyes. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Allow your spine to grow tall so that the top of your head is reaching for the ceiling. Start to let go of any busy to-do thoughts, any resentments, any self-doubt, any thoughts that don't serve you, and instead just bring your full awareness to your breath. Each time that you inhale, let your belly expand or bloat out. And as you exhale, releasing all of the air from your lungs. We're going to start to warm up the lungs. So each time you inhale, really fill your lungs as much as possible. And as you exhale, get to the very end of your exhale, and just when you think that you don't have any more, exhale again. So it's almost as if you have two exhales. And then inhale and fill. Doing that one more time. And just returning back to your normal breath. From here, just bringing your fingertips to the floor. Grow tall through your spine. As you inhale, reach your arms all the way overhead, palms touching. And as you exhale, bringing your hands to heart center. And open your eyes. From here, go ahead and extend the legs out long on your mat. And you're going to go ahead and bend the right leg. I'm going to turn towards you just a little bit here. You're going to scoot all the way to the edge of your mat of that bent leg. And then from here, inhale, grow tall, and exhale, forward fold. It's your first forward fold. If you're tightening hamstrings, that's okay, but really think about lengthening so the face is reaching for your toes versus your knee. And then sliding the hands upward, right hand comes behind you. Push into the palms, start to press into that right knee. Hips come forward, really open, lengthening through that top arm. And then slowly coming all the way back down to a seated position. You can take this as slow as you like to today, but I'm going to ramp this up and do it a little bit faster, moving with my breath. So I'm going to start to reach forward. As I inhale, come up, all the way up, right? Exhale, come forward. Each time that you inhale, think one long line, fingertip to heel. Each time you exhale, keep growing your spine long. 2 more times. As you inhale, really send your hips forward, opening to the front of the body. And then the next time you exhale and forward fold, just hold here. then sliding your hands up the leg, and let's just go ahead and switch sides. So again, you're moving to the side of your mat, so you can give your knees some room. And then take it slow, forward fold, just kind of check out where you're at on this side. Sliding the hands up, right hand comes behind you, top hand lifts, sending your hips forward, opening through the chest, lengthening one long line. And then slowly coming down. Taking your forward fold, taking this as slow as you would like or moving with me. We're going to inhale, come up. Exhale, come down. Start to move at your own breath pace here. Same as before, each time you inhale, really drive your hips forward, open through the chest. Each time you exhale, long spine, reach all the way for your foot. 2 more times. Last time. And the next time you come into that forward fold, just hold. And then sliding the hands up, go ahead and take the legs out long and just shake them out. Nice. From here, go ahead and take your legs wide. So as wide as you can, and you're going to focus on rolling your pelvis down towards the floor. So if that's not happening and the low back is rounded out, just reach behind you, really press the chest forward, roll the pelvis forward. If you can engage and hold that, bring it to the front, and start to walk it to the front. From here, actively drive your legs down into the ground. And you're pressing yourself forward using the muscles in your hips versus pulling yourself forward with your arms. And then from here, walking the hands out long. Staying as low as you can to the ground, start to walk your hands all the way over to one side. Reaching long with both arms, but especially that inside arm. And then walking it all the way over to the other side. Same thing. Arms are long. And again, staying as low as you can, walk it back to the center. And then nice and easy, come all the way up, grab the inner thighs and just bring the legs to the front and roll it forward for hands and knees. From here, start to really press into your hands and push the shoulders up as opposed to kind of letting them sag, and that applies to the belly as well. So as you press into the hands, you're going to really press up. Start to send that right leg behind you. From here, add the opposite arm if that's available. Just driving through the heel, driving through the heel. Keep activating, drawing your belly up. And then dropping the hand, drop the knee, take the other side. Opposite and opposite. Keep engaging your core. And then dropping the hand, drop the knee, back to the first side. Right leg back. Drive through the heel, hands stay on the floor this time. You're going to start to bend the leg, reach that back foot up towards the ceiling. And then really square off your hips, so both hips are facing down towards the floor. And if you have the flexibility, opposite arm is going to reach back, grab the foot, and take a bind. And if you have that flexibility, really pressing the foot into the hand, so engaging the front of that thigh. And then slowly releasing that down. Let's take the other side, take it behind you. Bend at the knee, lifting the foot towards the ceiling. Keeping the belly engaged versus just letting it fall down. And then if you have it reach back, you can always bring the foot to your hand and then bring it up. Pressing the ankle into your hand again, engaging the front of that back thigh. more press and engagement, the more stretch you're going to get out of this. And then slowly releasing that down. Start to spread your fingers, tuck your toes, and come into our first down dog. So if you want, you can start to pedal your feet, bending one knee at a time, stretching out the back of the calves. And then sending both heels into the floor. As you inhale, come all the way forward to your plank. And then from here, nice and slow, bending at the elbows, bring your chest all the way to the floor. Nice. From here, we're just coming into, let's come to forearms. So forearms down, palms down, start to lift through the chest, draw your shoulder blades back, drive your hips into the floor. And from here, find your breath. Staying right where you are, continue to keep pressing your hips into the floor and bend your legs. Draw your toes back towards your knees. Again, drive your hips down and you're drawing the feet in towards your body. Really have a lot of this coming from the glutes and the hips and the shoulders versus the low back. And then slowly lowering the feet, coming all the way down. Hands come to your sides, coming either through hands and knees or pressing up through plank and back to down dog. And then from here, looking between the hands, step both feet forward for forward fold. Just releasing here, release the back of the legs, the low back, the neck, even the arms. Soften the knees, tuck your tailbone and roll it up. Nice. As you inhale, reach out. From here, taking a slight back bend, send your hips forward, open through the chest again, making that back bend come from the glutes versus the low back. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands come to shin, ankle, or floor. Soften the knees, tuck your tailbone, roll it up. Inhale, lift. This time, clasp your fingers together, send your index finger towards the sky, and we're going to take a side bend over to your right. So pressing heavy into your left foot, really opening through the chest. And as you're here, breathe deeply. So push all the air into the side of the lungs. On your next inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, take the other side. This time pressing heavy into your right foot. Inhale. And exhale, just releasing your arms. You're going to start to find some balance into that right foot, and your left leg's going to come up. So if balance is off today, just kind of take a toe touch here. Otherwise, trying to find a bind, and if you need a chair or a wall, you're at home most likely, then go ahead and grab something. From here, start to bring your knees in, and then shift your hips forward as you drive your foot into your hand, maybe using that opposite arm for balance. And I'm not taking this into dancer pose, I'm just holding, so really engaging by pressing the hips forward. And then slowly release, shake it out, and let's take the other side. This time bringing your right leg behind you. Again, just either holding and pressing forward, or if you can take a bind, take a bind. Hips come forward. Slowly releasing and shaking it out. Coming back to the front of your mat, start to inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, come all the way down to flat spine. As you inhale, come halfway up to a flat back. Top of the head is reaching to the front of the room and your hips are reaching towards the back of the room. Drawing your belly button into your spine, go ahead and come all the way back down deep in your fold. Bending at the knees, placing both hands on the mat. Go ahead and step your left leg back. From here, we're just coming into a low lunge, so bringing that outside hand to the inside of the foot, and see if you can sink a little further as you lift through the chest. Your knees are reaching away from one another, and you're trying to bring your hips closer to the ground as you lift up through the shoulders. And then from here, engaging your belly, slowly drop that back knee, release the back foot, and come all the way up, find a neutral position. So knee is over ankle, hip is over knee. You're gonna take your tailbone and tuck it underneath. So you're gonna really feel this in the front of that back thigh. As you are tucking, really drawing up through the belly as well. And then just release, take a full breath, reset. If you find that you need a little bit more, take yourself a little bit further forward. Take your tailbone, tuck it underneath, hold. And then release. Go ahead and shift your weight all the way back, straighten that front foot, draw your toes back towards your knees, draw your chest open, send the hips backward, and come all the way down to a forward fold. The more you drive your hips back, the more you're going to feel this stretch. And then coming back forward one more time. If you want to come even further forward, you can. Take your tailbone and tuck it underneath. Honoring your body wherever that is for you. And then releasing that down. From here, find a little balance. Start to bring that leg in. Bring both hands down. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and find down dog. As you inhale, come forward, find your plank, knees up or down. And as you exhale, come to the floor as slow as you can. Bending to the elbows, leading with your chest, so you can get your chest to hit before your hips do. As you inhale, come up to your cobra or up dog. Allow the hips to sink into the mat, shoulders are back. Shoulders are away from the ears, making sure not to scrunch through the neck. And then from here, moving back to down dog. You can go through hands and knees or tuck your toes and lift your hips. Start to look between the hands and just draw your left leg forward. So we're just taking low lunge on the other side. Outside hand comes to the inside. And again, trying to sink closer to the floor. As your knees reach away from one another, really start to lift through the chest. If you're wanting some strength, come on to the fingertips. Draw your shoulders back. Each exhale, see if you can sink a little further into the floor. And then slowly releasing that back knee, release the back foot, coming back to your neutral position. Take your tailbone, tuck it underneath. And you're feeling that engagement in the front of the thigh that's in the back. And then slowly release, take a full breath again, reset. And then come back maybe a little bit further if that works for you. Take your tailbone, tuck it underneath. slowly release, start to shift your weight backwards. Again, front toes come up, shoulders come open and wide, and from here just sending your hips backwards as you come down with a flat spine. You're not going to hit as low as if you were to round out through the spine. And the more you drive backwards again, the more you're going to feel the stretch. Feel free to use your thighs, your hips, blocks if you have them. And then coming all the way up, shift back to the front leg, maybe shifting a little bit further forward. Same thing, take your tailbone, tuck it underneath. And then slowly release it back. Arms come out to find balance. And start to shift, just bringing that other leg in. Hands come back to the ground. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and find down dog. One more full breath. Really see if you can start to drop your heels towards the floor as you really lift your hips towards the ceiling. And then from here, starting to shift your weight forward, finding plank, and we're moving to side plank. So if you want, you can drop your right knee to the floor. And I don't think you're mirrored, so either way, you're gonna drop one knee to the floor and rotate the other direction. So whether the bottom knee is down or up, really keeping the hips lifted, reaching long through the hand, chest is open. Coming back down, back to your plank, and let's take the other side, dropping a knee or not. Lifting through the core. Coming back to center. And from here, either holding or coming down halfway, and then coming back up. And then coming all the way as slow as you can, coming to the floor. Nice and easy. And find some space on your mat where your face can rest, and then go ahead and release the tops of the feet. And then from here, bring your right arm parallel to the front of the mat, place your right cheek to the mat, and start to bend your left leg. Reaching back with the left hand, we're just taking a quad opener here, so coming back to those hip flexors. From here, drawing your foot in towards your body, and as you exhale, drive your hips down into the floor. So the more you press down, the more you're going to feel this stretch. And I really just want you to stay with your breath for a moment here. One more full breath. And then releasing that leg, go ahead and switch your arms, switch your cheek, and take the other side. Same thing, draw your foot in as you exhale, really drive your hips down into the mat. Head can just stay rested. And again, the more you drive down, the more you're going to feel this stretch. Slowly release. Come all the way to center. We're going to take bow pose. If bow pose is just not for you today, kind of an option is just to come to your forearms right where we started, bending the feet, driving the hips, and opening up, getting that full bow with the whole body. And if it's available, grabbing the ankles, draw your toes back towards your knees. As you inhale, draw up through the chest, up through the knees. Engage your core and find good breath here. Whenever you're ready, slowly coming all the way back down to the mat. Bring your hands by your chest, shift all the way through your knees, and take both knees wide, feet together, come back into your child's pose. Dropping through the hips, arms are long. Just drop your forehead to the mat. And from here, shifting back to hands and knees. Spread your fingers, tuck your toes, and find down dog. Nice. From here, let's go ahead and just take that left leg up. Allow the right heel to sink. So coming into your three-legged dog, and start by turning those back toes down so that you're paralleling your hips to the floor. And then from here, bending the back knee, now lifting the knee up towards the ceiling, opening up through the hips. And then coming back to center, let's go ahead and move to pigeon. Left knee to the outside of the left wrist and walk your right leg back. From here, start to find a place where you're not shifted from one way or another. And you're going to slowly walk it down. Hands, forearms, maybe forehead. And if you feel like you need more of a stretch, just bringing the foot away from your body. If you need less, bringing it into your body. We're just going to take a moment with breath here. So each exhale, see if you can relax, sink a little bit further into the mat. Also, each exhale, see if you can release any tension that you are consciously holding. So you're allowing the breath to do some work for you as opposed to driving hard into this stretch. And as you're here, if you want, you can lengthen one arm or maybe both arms if your chest is already touching the floor. And then whenever you are ready, slowly start to walk your hands in towards your body, lifting through the chest, opening through the shoulders. You can stay right here or tuck your back leg, or maybe even taking a bind. So if you've got a bind, really driving the foot into the hand, front hand can stay on the mat, on a knee, up to the ceiling, whatever is comfortable for you. And then releasing that leg down. From here, press into the back toes and send the front leg back for down dog. Nice, we're going directly into the other leg. So go ahead and start to reach that right leg up. Three-legged dog, paralleling your hips to the floor so those back toes should be facing down. And then from here, bending the back knee, lifting it towards the ceiling, this time opening through the hips again. And then coming back to center, let's take pigeon to other side, right knee to the outside of the right wrist, left leg back. This is the same thing as before. So if you need to pull your leg out to give you more, pull it out. Start to find your place here. And I hear a lot of like pull your toes back towards your knee. That doesn't really apply unless your leg is parallel to the front of the mat. So if it is, it kind of helps your legs from falling asleep. Otherwise, just kind of find a neutral position in the ankle that feels good. And same thing, once you've found a space where you're not shifted one way or another, slowly start to walk it down. Hands, forearms, forehead. Same thing, it's your time, find your breath. Each exhale, sink a little further. And try to really stay present on your mat. So as you breathe, imagine your breath coming directly to those areas of tightness. Extending to an arm or both arms. Whenever you're ready, slowly walking your hands back in towards your body, and same thing, open through the chest. From here, really placing that back hip, so really pushing through the front of your right hip down towards the floor, and then staying here, adding a leg or adding a bind. Same thing, front hand can go floor, ceiling, thigh. If you have it, maybe the opposite leg. And then releasing all of that down, and this time coming onto the right hip, bring your left leg all the way around. And just start to shake it out. You're going to inhale, grow tall, and exhale, forward fold. And then come all the way up. From here, go ahead and cross your right leg over. Take your opposite arm and wrap it around. You're going to inhale, grow tall, and then exhale, take a twist over to your right. Really driving your right hip down into the mat as you draw that knee into your chest. So it's as if the knee and hip are reaching away from one another. And then coming back to center, keep the leg but switch the arm. So you're taking an open twist here. And then come back to the center, and if it's available, just stacking that top knee over the other leg, trying to make it parallel with the foot. You're going to inhale, grow tall, keeping a tall spine, and slowly come forward. You're not going to come near as far as you think that you are. If you want more, drawing those toes back towards the knee, and this is really going to be a tight stretch on the hamstring. Try to think about bringing your belly button down and your face reaching for your foot versus rounding out through the spine. Slowly come all the way up. Let's go ahead and release that leg, shake it out, and let's take the other side. Same thing. This time left leg crosses over, right arm wrap. Start to inhale, grow tall, and twisting over towards your left. So big breath. To center, keep the leg, switch the arm, take the other side. You're going to feel this more in the torso. So as you breathe, really let your belly expand here. to center, same thing as the other side. Stacking the knee, keeping it in line with that foot. And if that doesn't work, you can always take it to the outside. You're just losing a little bit of the hamstring. Inhale, grow tall. Slowly fold it forward. And this may just be slightly. Really think about driving your hips backwards as you open through the chest and bring your belly button forward. And those little pieces really matter to get more out of the stretch. And we'll make sure that we're getting it from the attachment of the hamstring versus bringing in the low back. And this, while it doesn't look like it, can be a very intense stretch, so just listening to your body. Slowly coming back up, releasing the legs and shaking them out. From here, go ahead and move towards the front of your mat. We're going to take one boat pose here. So hands come behind the thighs. So to really draw your shoulders open, chest is open, and find some balance here. So your boat pose is your boat pose today. You can stay right here, just squeezing belly to thigh. You can start to extend a leg, maybe both legs, maybe arms. But finding a place you can still find full breath here. And then slowly releasing, hands come around the knees, just round it out, take a breath. And then we're going to do that one more time. We're going to add a little bit of work. So finding your place here, knees are going to stay bent this time. Arms can stay up for more or maybe out for a little bit more balance. You're going to inhale and open as much as is comfortable for you, and then exhale, squeeze. As you inhale and open, really containing right core. Core is bringing into thigh to belly. So you're maintaining that by not rounding out through the back. As soon as you find yourself rounding, stop. That's your space, right? You can do that for 3 more breaths. And then coming all the way back to center, round it out, take a breath here. And then since you're already at the front of your mat, you're coming to your back. You can roll down one vertebrae at a time or use your thighs, use the floor. You're coming all the way down. Crack, crack, crack. And then from here, start to walk your feet in towards your body. We're going to be moving into a bridge pose. Start to hug your elbows in towards your body and drive your arms down into the mat. While you're here, draw your shoulders down into the mat. So you've got pretty good engagement. That's going to slightly just lift you off the ground. From here, you can press into the hands if that feels good for you. If you need to maintain the arms up to feel that press, then just keep them right here. From here, press into the soles of your feet, tuck your tailbone, and lift your hips off the mat one vertebrae at a time. Neck is going to be long, so you're gazing out over your belly. Again, keeping that engagement right in the arms and the shoulders. Knees are reaching way out in front of you, and then squeeze your inner thighs together just slightly. One more breath. Slowly come all the way down. We're going to do that one more time. If you'd like to take a shoulder opener or full wheel, we'll do that too. So pressing into the floor, tuck your tailbone, bring it up one vertebrae at a time. And if you're taking that shoulder opener, clasp your fingers underneath your body, really sending your hands towards the floors as you draw your shoulders underneath your body. You can stay here, or if you are taking full wheel or back bend, you probably know where you're going. Hands come to the top of your head. As you inhale, press to the top of your head, and as you exhale, press up. So wheel is one of the most open from the body stretches as you can get. And whenever you are ready, tucking your chin, coming all the way down one vertebrae at a time. And then just drawing your knees into your chest and take a little rock side to side. And then releasing those legs down, go ahead and take your feet wide to the edges of your mat. Arms are going to come out to the sides and let your legs fall over to the right. Start to really press heavy into that left knee, pressing it down towards the floor. Both shoulder blades stay in contact with the floor. And you're really feeling that opening down the front side of your left thigh. And then coming back to center, let's take the other side. Dropping them over to the left, pressing heavy into your right knee. And then coming back to the center. Again, drawing your knees in towards your body. Just take your hands onto your knees and draw circles in the sky. Massaging out the low back. And then taking the other side. And we're just going to do one inversion here. So you can either just start to lift your legs, drive through your heels, and just allow blood flow to roll from the ankles to the hips. If you would like more, hands come to the sides, start to bend the knees and lift your hips up for candlestick. Drawing your knees over your face, and from here choosing to either stay here, maybe moving to plow, or all the way to your shoulder stand. So whatever inversion feels good for you today. And you're not just solid here, so allow yourself to take some movement through the legs if you would like. Kind of explore the movement that feels good for your body. And whenever you are ready, nice and slowly, bringing the knees back down, rolling your hips down if they're lifted, and just drop your feet to the floor. Nice. Go ahead and then cross your right leg over your left leg. And then drawing the left knee into your chest. Draw both toes back towards your knees. And instead of pulling with my hands, making this passive, I'm really using my hip flexors to drive it into my chest. And then keeping the legs as they are, I'm going to take a twist, taking the sole of that right foot all the way to the floor, and then pressing the right knee up towards the ceiling. Really keeping the opposite shoulder blade on the floor, maybe looking out over the right hand. And then nice and easy, coming back to the center, release that leg and take the other leg, cross it over. From here, draw the knee into your chest. Again, engaging the toes, drawing them back towards the knees. And then this time, just allowing the sole of the left foot to fall over towards your right. Keeping that left shoulder in contact with the floor and the left knee pressing up towards the ceiling. And then from here, coming all the way back to the center. Releasing that leg and taking one last final movement. So bringing the knees in, moving to happy baby. So lifting through the feet, either grabbing the thighs or the outsides of the feet, drawing your knees open and up. Trying to allow your low back to sink into the floor. You can stay right here or maybe just taking a very gentle rock side to side. And then releasing, coming back to the center, bringing your feet to the floor and moving to your final pose of Savasana. So if you're watching your low back, take your feet wide, prop your knees together. Otherwise, starting to maybe extend through the legs, through the arms, palms up, nice receiving mode here. Start to close your eyes. And with each exhale, just releasing a little further into the floor. Letting your legs grow heavy. Relaxing your arms. Your fingertips, and even relaxing the muscles of your face. If you notice that your mind starts to wander off, just bring it back to your body, back to your breath. You can get back to life in just one moment. Just stay very present with your breath. Really find that rhythm between the rise of your chest and your belly. Next breath, taking in a full inhale. And as you exhale, releasing all the air from your lungs. And before ending practice today, I just invite you to hang in the feeling of gratefulness, especially in this crazy time and life of ours. Being grateful to your body for the time that you've taken for yourself. Take a moment to add anything you'd like to that list. And then whenever you are ready, taking some movement with fingers and toes, maybe reaching your arms overhead, lengthening from fingers to toes. And take any last movement that would feel good to you, whether that's a twist or drawing your knees into your chest. And then with as little effort as possible, coming all the way back to a seated position. And then bringing your fingertips to the floor. Just start to grow tall through your spine. And from here, take a big inhale. As you inhale, reach your arms all the way overhead. Then as you exhale, bringing your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me today. Namaste.